First of all, could you tell me a little about foster family care in Geel, where we are?
Well, it's a very old program, so we've got lots of tradition, and it goes back to the 1500s, but it still exists. And well, I have to start doing this again, I think. Can I take it from the top?
Take it from the top.
Okay. It's a program that involves a lot of people. There's about 350 patients living in about 250 families. So in some families, 2 or even 3 people live. And it's been around for a very long time, so we have a lot of tradition. It's still alive because foster parents still come and knock on our door and tell us, well, we want to be involved in the program. It's not like we have to set up really, big campaigns to recruit foster families. It's still quite alive in the community. And what is also quite remarkable is that the whole community supports it. It's not just the foster families, it's not just us as a psychiatric hospital, but it's actually the entire community that's involved. If our clients go to, for instance, a shop, they're welcome and they're helped, and if they display very odd behavior, it isn't frowned upon, it's just generally accepted.
How do you determine who can be a client, who can be a part of the program?
It's not a very hard selection process. I mean, it's just people, if they feel that living in a family is a good solution for them, they can just send in their forms and their application, and then we go through. We discuss with them what it involves to live in a family, and are they really motivated to go through the program, because we don't place them in a family right away. They're here for 2-3 months, so we get to know them a bit better, and so that we can see together with them what sort of family they would like. Do they want young people, older people? Do they like children? Do they like animals? Whatever. So we go through a process with them before we even discuss them entering a family. And if they're prepared to do that with us and they're still happy to go and live in a family, then we schedule some tryouts. We try to match them with the right sort of family, and that sometimes takes a little while to see which family is suitable for which client. Yeah.
And how do you determine who's the foster? I mean, what is the criteria for being a foster care person?
It's not very, the criteria aren't very tough. I mean, we just generally looking for very stable households. It doesn't have to be, we also have single parents, we have homosexual families, we have all sorts. We have very old foster families, we have young foster families with young children. So we don't have hard criteria on that. What we do look at is the stability of the environment, and also their willingness to accept odd behavior or people who are what is generally described as a bit not normal, or who display odd behavior. Or we don't want them to handle bad aggression, because we generally feel that aggression is it's difficult to handle in families. So we don't we tend to direct aggressive patients towards other settings, not towards families, because the experience has taught us that you really have to protect the family against all sorts of mishaps, that sort.
Is there a supervisory kind of situation over the families, over the patient in the family? Is there a structure for that?
Okay, of course. Yes, we have districts, and every district has its own nurse, and the nurse visits the families, and she's the link between the hospital and the family. So she's a sort of advocate for the patient. And she mediates between the family and the hospital, and she looks after the general well-being of the person in question. And also she looks into leisure time, extra activities for the person. She will sort of mediate when the person wants work or wants to do other things. Then it's, the nurse is the sort of central person. And also they look after the medication as well. If they see that there's something wrong or even physically wrong, then they will intervene.
Now I noticed when we were at the other building that they have a fishing club here.
Right.
Are there other kinds of activities that the patients participate in through this program?
Yeah, we have lots of different. We have quite an extensive sports program. So we have all sorts of, we have volleyball and badminton and all sorts of things. But what we're trying to do now is to work together with the local clubs. So we have a volleyball club. We have even volleyball. There's several sports. Basketball, and there's a cyclists club. Walking. So we try to use regular clubs, and then they can use our facilities, and in exchange they have certain training programs, or they coach people, or they introduce them to their own club. It's a sort of agreement that we've got. And also there's a walking club in the neighborhood that organizes walks for our people once a month, and they work with volunteers, and then a few of our people have joined their walking club, and they're now integrated in the club, and it's sort of a very slow path towards integration in the community.
Now, is there a rehabilitation towards giving them a vocation of any sort? I mean, is that part of this program?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, most of our foster families were farmers. But of course, I mean, as anywhere else in the world, the number of farmers has reduced significantly. So we've looked for all sorts of different jobs for people. And the first movement has been towards organizing jobs here. We have workshops, and we have a printing shop, and a bike repair shop, and stuff like that. What we're trying to do now is to introduce them to work in the community again. So you've had this movement from work in the community on farms to working in workshops that were organized by us towards engaging the community again. So we have shops in Geel that hire our people. Well, they take them as volunteers. And there's farms in the neighborhood, and there's some horticultural companies that where our people work. And it's not on a group basis, but on an individual basis. So yes, we're making the move towards the community again. We have people working in a retirement home. We have people working in our own gardens. So they're a bit everywhere. Yeah.
Now you mentioned that some of the foster care are elderly. What happens if they die, or what happens to the client?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because some people have grown old in the same family. They've lived there all their lives, and then of course the foster parents grow even older. And what you sometimes see is a reversal of roles, that towards the end of the life the foster mother becomes infirm, or she can't walk, or she can't go to the shop, and then you see that the patient takes over the role of carer. So, and this is the ultimate integration, I would say, is that you get a reversal of the roles towards the end of their lives. What also happens is when the foster mother or the foster father dies, that they go and live with the children. So they've picked out their favorite son or daughter, and they get extra coffee and extra cake when they come and visit. So they it's a bit of their PR. They sort of handpick where they want to go and live next. And in quite a few cases that works out.